I think that altcoins are about to make you rich. And why do I think this? I think this because of the M2 money supply correlation with the altcoin market, specifically the total 3 crypto cap charts and, well, the catch up trade that's going to happen between those two things. Apart from that, we're in a huge ascending triangle, which we're about to see a breakout from a seasonality perspective. October, November should be, post-halving year, should be the time that we do see that breakout. M2 money supply actually had the same exact pattern, and we did see a breakout. So I don't see a scenario where we don't experience altcoin season. Granted, it will be a little bit different from this one. I'll explain how in a second, and I'll explain how I also think that you can take advantage of this because altcoin season historically is known for making a lot of people a lot of money. Guys and girls, if you're tuning into this channel for the first time, my name is Crypto Kid. I've been in crypto for the past 6 years and I deliver videos on the markets to you on a daily basis here on this channel. I've done over 800 videos and over 400 live streams, and I think we've built a very solid community where so many people have become profitable even in the bear market without seeing altcoin season, which I'm very proud of. All right, guys, let's jump into the video and talk about this correlation and talk about which altcoins I think will see very good increases to the upside. Look, the M2 money supply chart is very important. This yellow line is an incredibly important line. It visualizes the total amount of money in the circulation in the world, specifically the US dollar. As the money supply chart goes up, it means that there's more supply of US dollars across the world. If you have a drastic increase in supply where the demand is not catching up, and believe me, it is not catching up, the value of the dollar depreciates. When you go into the current Trump administration, the whole objective is to devalue the dollar. The US is sitting on $37.8 trillion of national debts. If they want to have any sort of chance in repaying this debt, they have to devalue the dollar, meaning they have to devalue the debts. That is what the Trump administration is doing, and that is why the dollar has fallen by 10% this year alone. Also, they want to boost the amount of made in America products across the country. They don't want to do imports, and the way to do that is by devaluing the dollar, so it becomes too expensive to import, so companies are forced to produce locally in America. Thankfully, those policies and the fact that they need to refinance $7.8 trillion by the end of this year is going to cause the M2 money supply to go higher and higher and higher. And for things like risk-on assets, which include the S&P, for things like gold, which is a hedge against increasing M2 money supply, and for things like Bitcoin, this is a great thing because those assets are going to appreciate in value as people seek to find assets that they could use to buy to hedge themselves against the inflation that's going to happen from the increase of the dollar supply. If there is $1 trillion in the economy, and the cost of one bottle of water is $1. When there's $2 trillion in the economy, the cost of water will not stay at $1. It's going to go to $2 per bottle, assuming that the demand for water is constant, which I'm pretty sure it is. So there's going to be a lot of inflation, and to protect your capital from inflation, you have to invest into risk on assets or risk off assets, because both of those historically protect you from that inflation that's happening and giving you even extra returns overall. So looking at that M2 money supply chart, there is quite a significant delay between the altcoin markets and the M2 money supply. Why is that the case? Why is the S&P following it perfectly? Why is gold following it? Why is Bitcoin and why is more so altcoins not following that trend? Well, the thing is, when the central bank prints a bunch of money, it takes time for that money to flow into assets. It takes time for it to flow from the central bank, go to your commercial bank, for institutions to withdraw money, invest, for individuals to withdraw money, invest. There is a delay. That's why there is a gap here. The fact that the S&P doesn't have so much of a gap, if not at all, is simply because it's systematic. For money to be created and flow into the stock market, that is a systematic thing. It happens like this. The delay is barely there. But when you talk about altcoins, an asset class that institutions don't really have access to, and even Bitcoin, yes, there is some slow institutional access, but really a majority of institutions don't own Bitcoin, that transfer of capital is much more delayed. Hence that delay you see between M2 money supply and crypto. That delay and that catch-up trade is where opportunities are made, because we know that we're going to follow it eventually, because we followed it throughout history for since Bitcoin's inception. We know it's going to be followed. It's just that now we have an opportunity, a gap where we can buy in, where I'm at least buying in, and then as soon as that catch-up trade happens and takes place, then our portfolios should be doing incredibly well, right? I'm going to talk about those altcoins in particular. I just want to give you one more or two more reasons on why I think we're going to see that breakout and where we're going to see that breakout towards. If you look at the target of this ascending triangle on the automatic landscape, you will notice that the target of this ascending triangle is approximately 100% of an increase from where we are right now. When we flip back into the log scale and put back the M2 money supply chart on, guess what? The target of this pattern meets exactly the targets of the M2 money supply delay. So that's 100% of an increase on the altcoin market from where we are currently, which is amazing because when we go into the short term, obviously we predicted a little bit of a drop. I think the drop will still happen on the short term. And that's why over on weeks, I'm still buying into my Bitcoin positions, my Ethereum positions, etc., etc. I have limit longs to buy more and more and more. I'm a little bit bearish on the short term, but macro is obviously incredibly bullish. If you wish to trade, then you can go to the first link in the description down below to join the trading competition on weeks to win incredible prizes on a daily basis. And also you can go to Pinex to sign up and access the trading bots we have. I'll leave a link to the trading bots that I'm currently running for Pinex in the description down below. And currently we have a cool deposit bonus of depositing $100 and getting $100 to try out these trading bots. Links will be down in the description below. But when I go into, obviously, right, the total 3 crypto chart, it says that we should get about 100% increase from where we are today, which makes sense. It makes sense. Why? Because Ethereum, for example, our prediction for Ethereum is that we go to about the $8,000 to $7,500 level, which is 2x from where we are currently. It makes a lot of sense. When we go into the macro charts, we're revisiting the same sort of setup that we had in 2020. You test the bull and bear market support band in October, and then you go parabolic. We're testing the bull and bear market support band. And if we break above this huge line of resistance at 4.7, I think we're also going to head towards that 7.5, 8K range, which sits right with the bullish pennant breakout. And that's the target of that. And also the Bitcoin correlation, the Bitcoin USD and Ethereum correlation, it also fits with that too, right? Because if you didn't know, Ethereum, not only does it follow M2 money supply, but it also follows the price of Bitcoin incredibly well. Take a look at this. If you haven't seen it before, it's going to blow your mind. Let's remove the bull and bear market support band and go into the auto scale. We're in the auto scale. And if we readjust it, you will notice that in every single cycle, Bitcoin front runs Ethereum and altcoins. It always front runs it, right? And this cycle, that front running has happened with a greater magnitude because of the involvement of institutions. But when you look into one common trend, there is a trend line that both of these assets find resistance at. So Ethereum finds resistance, finds resistance, finds resistance, and so does Bitcoin, finds resistance, and now we're actually seeing a break above that line of resistance. But multi-cycle resistance is formed for both, so there is, obviously it proves that there's an evident, clear correlation between the two assets. If we do that catch-up trade with Bitcoin, that should also take you into the $8,000-ish range. Right now, you can even make the argument that it's more than that, but I like to be conservative with my estimates. And currently $8,000 is basically where we can see the price of Ethereum go to based off of that correlation. So that's about a 2x from where the total total 3 crypto market cap is staying at. And that makes sense as a price prediction for Ethereum. So what am I doing? I'm buying as much Ethereum as I possibly can to get ready for what's about to happen. I think in the next, we will start to see the movement in the next 2 months and potentially finish that move in Q1, Q2 of next year. Some other altcoins that I'm buying in a tremendous amount for me is Cardano. Cardano always creates this downwards trend line and then sees a huge breakout. Downwards trend line sees a huge breakout. Downwards trend line, as soon as we can make it above that downwards trend line, I think we're going to see a big move to the upside. Solana, huge multi-cycle cup and handle pattern. It looks beautiful in the short term. Yes, a little bit concerning with that rising wedge, but even if we do see a drop, I'm going to be buying as much Solana as I can. Solana, huge multi-cycle cup and handle, reminds me of the cup and handle that gold formed, the cup and handle that Bitcoin formed before seeing a break to the upside. So I really like Solana. ETF incoming, commercially very much used and adopted. Solana, I think, can go to $500. So Solana is something that I'm buying. Another coin that I'm buying is Chainlink. Chainlink is the oracle that provides off-chain data to allow tokenization. apart from stablecoins, I think tokenization is the biggest narrative in crypto in the moment, and it will also continue to be the biggest or the second biggest crypto narrative. When we go into the price of Chainlink, we know that it's a solid project, but there's a huge bullish pennant forming on the price action. And as soon as we break above it, I think we can start breaking above within the next 2 months. It could coil Chainlink to move all the way up to the $50 range once more. So Chainlink is another asset that I'm accumulating. AVAX is one more. AVAX, if we go to AVAX, that's an RWA layer 1. We have a huge bull flag within a greater bullish pennant. Can we come down in the short term? I'm actually expecting us to go down in the short term. I think $24 is possible in the short term, and that gives you an opportunity to start limit buying some AVAX all the way down to potentially $24. You can do that on weeks. Link is down below. But in the macro, huge bullish pennant, and I think we can go back to the over $100 territories for AVAX in this cycle. What other altcoins? There was one more. I'll go over one more. And then tomorrow with Carl, we'll go over these in a bit more in-depth detail. So subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Sui, another great project, another great team, huge bullish pennants, and also a bull flag, just like AVAX, a bull flag within the bullish pennants. Can we see a little bit more of a drop to the downside? We actually almost completed our target from yesterday's video. So I'm buying at these levels. I've been buying at 3.1. I shared that in the Crypto Kids Telegram community. But overall, I think Sui looks amazing and is ready to pump into the $5 and beyond levels. Guys and girls, with that said, thank you so much for watching. Again, we will go more in depth into these in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned. But overall, very, very bullish on altcoins and very bullish on the market for the next 2 months at least. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. And as always, bye-bye.